Hi, welcome to SBR Sports Picks. My name is Peter Loshak. It's Week 12 in the NFL. This is the Into the Weekend with BetDSI show for Week 12 in the NFL. We are talking with Brent, the headlines manager at DSI Sportsbook. Use the promo code WEEKEND25 if you are signing up at DSI Sportsbook for the first time, and you will get an additional $25 free play. All right, Brent, from BetDSI, thanks so much for doing this call with us once again. Week 12, of course, in the NFL this week contain feature the three Thanksgiving Day games that we see every year. This year, all three of the favorites won. How were the three games for you? Were they good, or was the fact the favorites all won, the favorites all covered, a bad result?
Favorites covering is never a good thing for us, Peter. Yeah, it was not a good day for us. We did need Detroit, and I mean they just started off bad and never really recovered from that one. So that was not good for us. I did have what I'm going to call sharp money early on the Chargers, so that was a good result for us. We did have a lot of public money on Dallas, so that was a good split for us. And the Giants Washington obviously was just just a terrible game for us. I mean Washington or Giants, it's just, man, it's tough to watch that offense. And you can put a lot of blame on Manning and stuff like that, but even he's lost Beckham, he lost Marshall, he lost the other guy, the third receiver they have. I can't remember his name now. But there it is. I mean, it's just tough for him watching him. But I mean, him too. I mean, he doesn't look that great either. So it was a tough one for us. I mean, we knew we were going to need the Giants, and we needed them quite big. And of course, that was a late game, so everyone was sitting down watching that one. Everyone was betting that game, so that was not a good game for us either. So no, not a great Thanksgiving for us. And but it's just part of the process here. I mean, we're always looking at the long term here. And we lost 2 out of the 3 games. Yeah, not a great day, but we've done so well on college football so far this Friday already. So just one day, one game never breaks our bank.
Sure. All right, well, let's get to the rest of the NFL card that comes up this Sunday. There's a lot of other games that have some pretty big favorite lines that I'm guessing are going to take a lot of public action. You might wind up once again needing the underdogs to come through one way or the other. The first game that I want to ask is not quite like that. It's the Saints against the Rams. You told us that last week the Sharps faded the Rams. They took Minnesota, and that, of course, was a great call. Minnesota won and covered that one fairly easily. The Saints, though, are absolutely rolling. They did wind up with a win last week once again, but for the first time in about 2 months, they didn't get an ATS cover. So this is an interesting game. I'm curious to see if the Sharps see value with this game and this line at any which way. I wouldn't at all be surprised to hear that the Sharps, who faded the Rams last week, might be back on them this week.
Yeah, that game last week with the Saints, that was just crazy the way they came around and covered that one. I can't remember, like they were down like 16 points with 3 minutes left or whatever it was. It was just like, they were done, and all of a sudden, they're not. Yeah, Saints money is still coming in. I've got a wager count almost 3-1 favoring New Orleans, so it's just no backing down from them betting, or from people betting New Orleans. If you figure you're in a decent spot with the Rams sitting at 7-3, the Saints at 8-2. So if we end up needing the Rams at home in a spot like this, is kind of not a bad spot to be. I mean, the spread's only 2, so it's not a big one. You just kind of need them to win the game. You figure they're going to cover that one. But I do have wager count, like I said, almost 3-1 favoring the Saints. So everyone's all over the Saints like they have been for several weeks now. My money's almost 2-1 favoring them, so it's not quite as big as the wager count. The wager count 3-1 favoring New Orleans. Money about 2-1. And again, this is the kind of the trend is going back to the way it used to be with New Orleans, going back to the over. So I've got over money on this one as well. My count's about 2-1 favoring the over, but my money's not, it's not too bad. It's kind of close right now. So I think this is going to be, set up pretty good for us. I think we're going to get, real good 2-way action on this one. I don't think we're going to have to move, say, between 1.5 and say 2.5. I don't think you're going to see a whole lot of movement on this one. Sharps have not come in so far. Not they can obviously change all that, but I can't really see, even if Sharps get involved, you figure this game's not going to go beyond 1, and it's not going to go higher than 3.
Okay, and then the next game, 2 games with big favorites that I'm assuming are going to take huge public action and probably huge teaser action as well. First one, Packers and the Steelers. The Steelers, of course, coming off a blowout win. The Packers with no Aaron Rodgers coming off of a shutout loss against Baltimore, just looking really bad offensively there. I'm assuming that the public is all over the Steelers here as a big home favorite, and that you're going to wind up needing the Packers at least to cover their teaser spreads, right?
Yeah, for that for sure. The thing too, though, if you get a number, if you do a decent job on your number and you get it kind of right and close to right, like this one being as high as it is, it opened up at 13.5. We're sitting at 14 flat or 14 dog 15. So it's a high number, and it's high enough that you're getting two-way action, decent on both sides. Now, my money right now is not too bad. It's pretty much, pretty close to even. My wager count is about 2-1 favoring Pittsburgh. So I'm definitely going to have more parlays and teasers and all that kind of stuff tied up to Pittsburgh for sure. And again, I mean, it's, Pittsburgh's won 5 in a row, and the fact that Rodgers is there, they're, obviously going to be the team that the public's going to get behind. So as of right now, this is one of those games where you look at it and you see the market and you see, everyone's pretty much 14 dog 15 on this one. And you just know, if you have a good idea from your customer base that, by game time, you're definitely going to have a lot of Pittsburgh money. So now's the kind of the time where you can go 14 flat and be just to kind of stay ahead of the curve. We do that quite a bit. You'll see, where you get a feeling where you're going to be one-sided on the game, where everyone on the board is six, say 6, for example. You jump to 6.5 early just because you think it's going to be there. So we're at 14 flat on this game. Like I said, there are some 14 dog 15s, and it's just based on on the wager count, even though my money is quite close. Maybe surprisingly, I'm not sure, is that I've got sharp money on the over this game, Peter. Over 41.5 is where I got sharp action. And again, I mean, Green Bay's offense obviously is not much to write home about anymore, but I do have, sharp money there. And you figure the public's going to bet the over in Pittsburgh games, which they often do, regardless who they're against. So I've got a wager count almost 5-1 favoring the over, and I have sharp money on the over as well. So over 41.5 is where the sharps were on this one, and 43.5 is where we are right now.
All right, then the next thing I want to ask you about, similar betting profile, I'm guessing, is the Eagles against the Bears, right? The Eagles came off their bye and just absolutely dominated the Cowboys. I heard that, some sharp or pseudo-sharp opinions were thinking that the Cowboys might be a sneaky good bet. Wasn't the case at all. The Eagles just steamrolling all comers at this point in time, and the Bears, once again, very, very, very steamrollable right now. Feels like it's going to be a 10-1 count at least in favor of the Eagles when you count teasers and everything, right?
Yeah, I would say the Bears are definitely steamrollable.
Yes.
And the Eagles just don't look very upsettable
Yeah.
either, Peter. No, it's not a good combination for us. And yeah, I mean, the Eagles have looked so good, rallying off 8 wins in a row. But I mean, Dallas might not be much, as we saw just yesterday as well. How the Chargers handled them quite well. So we'll see what that win means. But yeah, you're talking about a 9-1 team against a 3-7 team, so it's not a good spot for us, obviously. But again, the line movement has gone from like 13.5 to 14 where we are right now. So it's not, not any significant moves. And like I said with the previous game, when you get your spreads that high, it is kind of easier to get two-way action now. Whereas I got good two-way action from the dollar volume with the Pittsburgh Green Bay game, I do have almost twice as much money on the Eagles. So I've got a dollar volume almost 2-1 favoring the Eagles, and a wager count about 3-1. And again, the spread is quite high on this one, so that might be why it hasn't gone overboard. Also, the over on this one, I've got a wager count almost 3-1 favoring the over, and my money is pretty much dead even now. The only kind of thing where I kind of look at a game like this and you figure you might get steamrolled, as you say, and I kind of look for something, a light at the end of the tunnel, and that is the fact that Philadelphia is on the road at Seattle next week. So, maybe they'll have a little bit of emotional letdown. Maybe the Bears will stay within the number. So that's kind of one thing that I just kind of looking at and saying, yeah, hopefully maybe we can get there with the Bears. And I know definitely by kickoff we're going to need them. But I don't have any sharp action involved in this one so far. Just the public money driving the Eagles number.
Okay, so sharp action on the Pittsburgh game, over 41.5. That's it for now as far as notable sharp action from NFL Week 12. What else can you tell us about, Brent?
Well, it seems to be that time of the year where I got to start selling the 0-10 teams, and this would be the Brownies once more. Browns are on the road at Cincinnati, and in Cincinnati's they're not blowing anyone away. I mean, they did get the win last week. I guess it was against Denver, however. But I mean, Cincinnati is not one of those teams that you have a whole lot of confidence, I don't think, based on their season's gone at 4-6, and +9 is where they came in on Cleveland. So we're sitting at 7.5 right now. I still do have money kind of close on this one, but a wager count of about 3-1. No surprise favoring Cincinnati. So wager count one way, pretty much dead even money, and that's because of the sharp action on Cleveland +9. Another game where not really liking our spot right here is the sharp action that came in on Carolina -4. Carolina is on the road at the Jets. Interesting to note, perhaps, or not interesting at all, however your take on it, is that both these teams are coming off the bye. So we've kind of looked at teams coming off the bye as a spot to play. This doesn't qualify as both teams are coming off the bye, but I do have Carolina. Again, -4 is where I got sharp action on Carolina on the road at the Jets. And of course, I've got public money all over Carolina as well. Wager count almost 5-1 favoring them. So I got a whole lot of money and a whole lot of count favoring Carolina. We're up to 5.5 right now on this one. So 4 to 5.5 with the sharp money. And again, just like a side note, as we talked about earlier, how I had just a ton of regular season wins money on the Jets under. Now that number was like under 4.5 and a whole lot of juice, and under 4 with a whole lot of juice, and they're sitting at 4 and 6. So we're just kind of sitting here rubbing our hands, waiting for them to get their 5th win. Not sure it's going to come this week with the sharp money on Carolina, but a 5th win for the Jets will be good for us for our biggest decision of the regular season wins. Seattle and San Francisco, I have sharp action on this one, not the side, but the total of this one. Sharps went on the over. Over 43 is where they came in on this one. We're up to 45 right now, and I've got a wager count up, all one side as well towards the over. 5-1 favoring the over now. I mean, Seattle's been in a lot of shootouts. Every couple of weeks they get in these big shootouts and put up a lot of points and give up a whole lot of points. This is the case here where I've got, like I said, sharp money over 43, and 45 is where we are right now. And Green Bay, Pittsburgh is the other one we talked about already. So just those 4.
Brent from BetDSI, thanks so much. Really appreciate it. Once again, Weekend25 is the promo code you can use for brand new accounts at BetDSI to get an additional $25 free play. We'll talk to you next week for NFL Week 13, Brent.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to our channel. Now, we've put a lot of work into producing all these free videos, so please help us out and keep all our content free for you forever by simply liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. Now, not to mention, a visit to our industry-leading website will warm the hearts of all our SBR employees, especially myself. Now, the links are over there to the left, so do check those out. Thanks for watching.